Welcome everyone. So in this video we're going to find limits from looking at a graph. So let's take a look at this graph. We have this graph given to us and we want to find the limit for part A as x approaches 0 of f of x. So 0 is right here. So x equals 0 is right here. So pretty much we're trying to analyze the limit of the function as we get closer to 0. So now this is a two-sided limit. So if you approach from the left and right, you get this function value right here. So it makes sense to say that the limit of this function as x approaches 0, it's going to be 3. Now, what about part B? If we're approaching, let's say finding the limit as x approaches 3 from the left of this function. So now let's pay attention to 3. So 3 is this. Let's suppose that's the focus point. So we're approaching 3. Now this little symbol, that superscript, is the direction we're approaching. So we're approaching 3 from the left. So we're coming to 3 from this direction. So it looks like we're getting closer to this limit value. So it makes sense to say from the left, this is going to be 4. Now let's approach 3 from the right. So that's this symbol right here, that little plus superscript. So if we approach 3 from the right, so again we do the same thing. We're focusing on x equals 3 coming from the right, so that's this direction. And it looks like that's where the function is approaching. So we can say that the limit as x approaches 3 from the right of this function, it's going to be 2. So then what is the limit of f of x as x approaches 3? Well, if these two limits, the left and the right, are equal, then we can say the limit is that value. But since the limit as x approaches 3 from the left of this function is equal to 4, and the limit as x approaches 3 from the right of this function is 2, since they're unequal, we say that the limit at 3 does not exist. So let's set the NE. Since the left and right are not equal, we are going to say it does not exist. Now, what about if you want to evaluate the function at that point? Well, so if you look at f of 3, so when x is 3, we're looking at the function. So here it's undefined, here it's undefined, but the function is evaluated right here. So that's the point of f of 3 is. So the function evaluated at 3 is 3, but the limits are different. And it's okay because the limit doesn't have to be in the domain of the function. It's evaluated nearby that point. So it makes sense to say that there is a discontinuity at x equals 3. The function is not continuous.